What's up out there? Let's talk about something completely different today. Somebody asked me if I was interested in a particular game that's coming out later this year that we're going to talk about here in a minute. And I was like, you know what? This is a good opportunity to do a video that I've actually been thinking about for a while now. I just wasn't sure how to wrap it all up. But this gives me an opportunity to combine two topics together and just discuss it here. So the first topic is what I have in this notepad document, which is my Steam backlog and a list of games that I've prioritized as what I'd like to actually finish, what I'd like to actually try to play and do something with. I got a big Steam library. I'm sure we all do. You buy Humble Bundle games, you buy stuff on Steam sale, whatever. I got a lot of games. There's a lot of years that I was not on PC gaming, and there's a lot of games that I'd like to revisit, and that encompasses all of that on this list. And then there's new games that have came out. So basically part one of this video is the games that I'm going to try to fit into our in-between Path of Exile leagues. I'm starting to get into the flow of Path of Exile and the way the league goes. Like, I've spent a lot of time learning leagues and learning the mechanics and learning the builds and all that stuff. Now I'm starting to get to the point where if you have a 3-month league, the first month you're really hot and heavy into it. Then you kind of want a little bit of a break for a few weeks, and then you're back playing again, getting ready for the next league. So I'm kind of getting into that ebb and flow of everything, and I'm starting to look at what I can fit into the different breaks we have in between. So the backlog that I want to address, and the reason I came up with this idea is I was, YouTube recommended me a couple of different videos, either by the same person or two different people, I'm not sure. But the videos were about someone addressing their backlog and how they were approaching it. And they made a list, and, they committed to certain things, like they would play the game for an hour and check it out and then decide if they wanted to keep playing it or not. I put the only other stipulation that I put on this was that the game had an ending. Like, I didn't want to put on, an open world survival game. I got a lot of those and I love them, but I don't want to put that on the list and then get stuck playing for 60 hours. I'd like to have a definite ending to it so that I can have something to shoot for. And the hour was so that you didn't install it, play it for 5 minutes, be like, all right, I'm gonna go back to whatever. You would actually spend some quality time with the game, and then if it stuck with you, you would finish the game. If it didn't stick with you, you'd just uninstall it and go to the next one. So that's kind of the whole concept of all this. So the games that I have on my list, I got a lot bigger list, but these were the ones that really kind of jumped out to me as the ones that I really want to try to tackle first. Drink for every time I say the word really. I know I say that a lot, but so the first two on my list are Armored Core 6 and Baldur's Gate 3. These both came out last year, right in the middle of me getting into Path of Exile. I had nothing but interest in, I really wanted to get into Baldur's Gate 3. And I started to, but then Path of Exile kept pulling me aside. So I just didn't get over to it. And then Armored Core 6 came out. I did give that one a shot for a little while. I actually got past the first big boss. It's like the really hard one to fight. Everybody fails on. I sat down one day. I said, I'm getting past this thing. And I did. But I just didn't really stick with it after that. Or I didn't find myself sticking with it, so I just kind of ended up. So those are on my list, and this is not necessarily, this is just alphabetical order. This isn't the order that I'm going to prioritize them, because as you'll see with the Diablo stuff, that is my higher priority. So next up is Diablo 1, 2, and 3. I don't know that I'll ever beat 4, but I do want to check out Season 4 of Diablo 4 at least. I worked on the campaign for a while. I just did a big video about that if you're interested or haven't seen it. But I have been wanting to go through Diablo 1, 2, and 3 for a very long time now. I've not played Diablo 1 and 2 since the early 2000s. And Diablo 3, I only played one time in like 2016. So I kind of remember some of it, but I don't remember how all the story fit together and everything. I just want to go through them all. And Diablo 1, I've started playing Diablo 1. I got down to there's 16 levels. I got through all 16 levels, and then you got to go through a big pentagram portal to go fight Diablo, which I did, but there's a whole level down there you got to clear out. And then I just wasn't feeling it that day. It took, I don't know, an hour or so to get to that point, and I was kind of ready to be done and go eat or something. So I've got that to do, and then I'll be wrapping that one up. But I do want to go through Diablo 2 because it's been so long since I've played it. I just want to re-experience it. And then Diablo 3, like I said, I've only played it through it once. I want to go check it out in the modern day, not because I think it's going to be some mind-blowing game or anything, but because I played it the one time and I never played it again. I just want to get that story and see where everything is and see how all of this fits to where they ended up with Diablo 4. Because I don't really feel like Diablo 4 fits a lot of the story, but I don't really remember Diablo 3 all that well. So maybe it does. I don't know. I just kind of want to put myself back into that mood again. And it's been something I've been wanting to do for a very long time. After that, we've got Elden Ring, which is probably perennially going to be on my list. I think I put 20 or 30 hours into it when I first got it. I even bought it out on my console out front, thinking I would, take some time to go sit out and play it because it's on controller or something out there, but I haven't really spent a whole lot of time on that. The GeneForge remake. You may not be familiar with the GeneForge games. We're going to talk about GeneForge 2 coming up here. I think it's Spiderweb Software. It's a solo developer. And the guy's just made these games for 20 years or something like that. He's made a whole ton of ARPGs. He's got 10 or 15 different games, and they come up cheap on Steam. They look cool. They're probably a little jankier, but they're old CRPG style games. This one looks cool because it's something that you'll see it in GeneForge too, but the GeneForge remake looked awesome to me. It's something about making weird monsters or something like that. That's the whole premise of it. And there's some big story arc about it. It looks cool. I want to check it out. This is probably lower on my priority list. The Diablo games are very high on my list. The rest of this stuff's kind of whenever. Grim Dawn. We are getting a Grim Dawn expansion this year. It is definitely something that's going to happen. I would also add that any Last Epoch cycles, if we get more Last Epoch this year, I'm on board with that as well. Outward is a game that came out a few years ago. I played some of it and I really enjoyed it, but I've never finished it. It's kind of a Demon Souls kind of game, that kind of idea, but slightly different than that. And it's a little janky, but it looks really cool. And there's a sequel that's been announced, so I need to get out and do that before the sequel. Proteus is an old boomer shooter. That one's one I backed on Kickstarter. I've played what they gave us for the Kickstarter backer, but I haven't actually finished it since it came out. It came out, I don't know, a couple years ago, I think. So it's kind of always on my list. It's a shorter game. I think I could probably go through it fairly quickly. I just need to prioritize it and get it in there. Stalker, we've got Stalker 2 coming up. We'll talk about that's coming out this year. I've never actually finished Stalker. I never actually played it. This is one of the ones that I wanted to play because this came out when I was not on PC. I was either not playing video games or I was on console whenever this came out, so I missed it. I have played about 10 or 20 hours into it, 10 or 15 maybe, something like that. I've put some time into it. You got to have a lot of mods and stuff to make it work, but I did check it out. I was enjoying it. I just kind of got sidetracked on something else. I would like to actually get through that before I play Stalker 2. And we'll talk about Stalker 2 when it gets there, but I hope they can stick Stalker 2 and make it work and not just have some crappy cash grab. So I hope that one comes out. Titan Quest is a game that I played briefly for a while. I think I've got, 5 or 6, 8 hours into it, something like that. I never finished it, but the people that, I don't think it was the same company that did Grim Dawn, but some of the people that made Titan Quest went on to make Grim Dawn under a different company or something like that. I don't remember the whole story, but Titan Quest 2 got announced. It is not supposed to be out this year. I don't think they even put a release date on it, but I do want to go through Titan Quest just to get a flavor for how it was played. I'd like to finish it. I don't know that I will, but I'd like to at least play through it before Titan Quest 2 just to kind of get an idea. Big ARPG here, basically. Next up is Warhammer Space Marine. I had this on the Xbox 360 and I absolutely love this game. We've got Warhammer Space Marine 2 coming out this year, which we'll talk about here in a second. Another one that I hope they do right, but we'll see. But I do want to go through Space Marine again because I loved it. That was a great game. We'll see. And then finally is Wizardry. Now, this is a game I had way back in the day on the old NES, Nintendo Entertainment System. And this was actually out on PC. somebody has remade this. This is Wizardry, the something Mad Overlord. I can't remember the name of it, but I played a lot of Wizardry back in the day. One of my goals was to get a level 100 character because I didn't know if it had double digits for the leveling. It does roll over to 3 digits. At least the Nintendo version did. So that's just fond memories. Somebody's remade it, and I want to go through it again. This is kind of really low priority, but yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So here is part 2. Part 2 is what I'm looking forward to this year. Obviously, Melver Idol's expansion that's coming out very soon. Definitely, this is like definite. We'll be in on that. Path of Exile 2, they pushed this one back. I don't know if this is actually going to make it out this year, but another obvious one. Yep, I am so interested in this. I love the slower paced, more tactical decision-making combat. Like, I'm really loving going through Diablo 1 right now. You have to prioritize targets. You have to figure out what's the bigger threat and shoot that down first. And you know what I mean? Like, I love that style of game. And I'm really looking forward to what they do with Path of Exile 2. I like the slower idea of it. I love the concept that they're not going to just make Path of Exile into number 2 like Overwatch 2, you know, just the same thing with a slightly different flavor to it, but that they're actually redesigning it and doing things a different way. So I love that about it. I don't know how much that's going to land for people because I have a feeling that's why they're going to leave Path of Exile 1 and Path of Exile 2 up. What happens when both of these are out and they're both doing different leagues, you know, and you're having to alternate? I don't know. I don't know if I got enough time in the day for all that, but I'm looking forward to this. I can't wait. Next up is Gene Forge 2. Now, this is that not ARPG. This is that CRPG I was talking about. It's, you know, it's not the greatest graphics. It's supposed to be a really good story. And this is like it says here, 50-hour game, open-ended adventure, unique fantasy. It's kind of like a Baldur's Gate 3. It's like a poor man's Baldur's Gate 3. But this throws back to the games that I was playing back in the late 90s and stuff like that. Well, the original Baldur's Gate, there's some advanced Dungeons and Dragons games and stuff like that. I just kind of want to go back to it. What I like about this one is it is Spiderweb Software. What I like about this, but this one's coming out in 1 day and 10 hours. So it's out soon. And like I said, I've got pretty much everything else that this studio's made. Well, this one developer's made, but you can make like mutants and stuff. It looks cool. I don't know that I'll ever get to play it. I got to get through the first one first. And there's like 4 or 5 of these, but he's slowly remaking them and making them to where they run better on the newer hardware and stuff. Anyway, I'm interested in it. I'll probably be picking it up at some point, throwing it on the old Steam backlog and letting it sit there. The next up that I'm really excited for is No Rest for the Wicked. This game looks awesome. April 18th, I cannot wait. This game looks amazing. I love the idea of mixing Diablo and Dark Souls. Those are some of my all-time favorite games, and I absolutely love the look and style of this. The games that these other guys have made, what did they make? The Ori and the Blind Forest or whatever they made, whatever other games they made, I think I've checked out or played or something, but never really cared. This game looks amazing, and I can't wait for it. Sulaco is a game I've been following for a while. This one comes out on May 30th, or it's supposed to come out on May 30th. This is another boomer shooter. Yeah, what can I say? It's running around with guns and killing stuff. It's like Doom. I love it. I can't wait for it. If it's good. I should preface that. All these games, if they're good. Warhammer 2 Space Marine, or Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2. I can't tell you how excited I am for this, and also how cautiously optimistic I am. This looks incredible, but this is the modern day, and a lot of games that I think look good end up sucking. So I hope this doesn't follow that. I hope this is actually good. Focus Entertainment puts out some good stuff, and I think this looks good. It just needs to land and be good. That's the only thing. If it's a 4-hour game that they want to charge $90, I'll be out. I won't bother with it. But if it's a reasonably priced game and it has a reasonable amount of gameplay and it's fun and looks good, I'm on board. It's just, you never know what you're going to get these days. Sometimes you get some janky game that comes out and sucks. Sometimes you get something that's amazing. I really want this to do well, but it's the modern day. And if they're going to charge AAA prices for a janky 2-hour experience, I will pass. So I don't know. I'm kind of hopeful. And the game that kind of drove all this was somebody asked me if I was interested in Brighter Shores. I am absolutely interested in Brighter Shores. I was not somebody that played RuneScape back in the day. I actually just started playing RuneScape, I think last year. Melver Idol actually got me to play RuneScape because Melver Idol is based on RuneScape. And this is from Andrew Gower, who is one of the developers of the original RuneScape. I don't know how much he's been involved with it lately or if he probably sold out a long time ago, but this game looks cool. I am very interested in it. And I do plan on playing this and covering it. It's, I think it's free to play. I'm not sure. I thought I saw it was free to play. Regardless, yeah, I don't know that I care. Yeah, free to play. There it is right there. Free to play. I do plan on checking this out. This does look really cool. And yeah, I find myself, I don't want to say as I get older because that now I feel like an old man. And even though I am, I don't want to say it that way. I find myself wanting to play long-term games for some reason. Like I've gotten into Melver. I think Melver Idol really opened my eyes to a lot of different things. Like I've played Final Fantasy 14 before. I've played long-term games before. I played Battlefield 3 for a year. You know, it's not that I don't have that. It's not that I haven't done that before, but I find myself wanting to have, number one, for the channel, and number two, it's kind of nice to have a game that you can keep coming back to. And you know it's there. I've got Melver Idol, and that one's really driven that home for me because I've been playing Melver Idol for what, 2-3 years now? However long it's been out on Steam, I've been playing it. And I love being able to come back to it. I thought RuneScape was going to be there for me, but I kind of, Path of Exile kind of ruined that. But now I've got Path of Exile in that space, and there's also this Brighter Shores. Now, depending on how this thing goes, you know, if it's super grindy or boring or something like that, but if it's something that I can pop on and just kind of do something in the background or whatever, it'd be nice if it kind of worked like Melver Idol, where some of it just played in the background and you could come back to stuff mined out or something like that and then actively play it. I'd love that. I kind of love the concept of playing a game and then putting it not necessarily on pause, but taking it offline and letting it do its thing and then coming back. That's the biggest thing that I keep coming back to Melver Idol for, is that you can just let it do stuff offline, come back online, and there's your progress done. Speaking of which, I need to see what I got going on that. But yeah, I am excited for Brighter Shores, and this one's supposed to release in Q3 of this year. No release date yet. I am very interested in it. I think this looks really cool. And if nothing else, it looks novel. I don't know. We'll see where it goes. But anyway, that is the games that I have on my backlog that I want to get to. Probably going to get through I'm going to try to get through the Diablo games this year. I don't know that I will. I may not get through anything else on that list, but I want to try to get through the Diablo games. That's like my highest priority stuff, is to go through those slowly over time. I don't really plan on going through and playing them like solid, 40 hours in 1 week or anything. But there's something that I work on a little bit here and there. They're a little older. They're a little rougher to get into. And I kind of got to put myself in a little place for them. Diablo 1 with the Beelzebub mod is great to play. But I want to play Diablo 4 or Path of Exile or something like that. Like, I want to play the more modern stuff. And I have to divert myself back to go play the other stuff. So the Diablo games are going to be on my list. And then the rest of this stuff, maybe I pick up, maybe I just shelf it and throw it down later. I do like supporting games, so I do like buying them and having them sit in my inventory. And some of these, there are a few like Stalker 2 and Space Marine 2. I will be waiting to see if they are any good before I purchase them. just because, you know, it's rough. I want to support things, but if they're going to make a bad product, I'm not going to support that. Or if they're going to put microtransactions in at the last second and not tell anybody. I was all set to buy Dragon's Dogma 2, or I was looking at it and then they did the whole microtransaction thing. And I'm like, you know what? I'm out for $80 or whatever it is, $70, $80, and then toss in all that. I don't care how good the game is. I don't care how unnecessary the microtransactions are at that price with the microtransactions. I'm out. I've got enough other games to worry about. I don't need to add more to my list. I am happy to add stuff to my list, but if it's going to be expensive and have microtransactions and all that, I'll wait it out. I'll get it when it's there. I was going to try, and that's kind of a long way to say, not short, but a long way to say that I was looking at playing Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen to try to get that in, but then this whole debacle came out and I'm like, you know what? I'm out. So anyway, philosophy, game playing philosophy from me. But that will do it for this video. We will catch you on the next one. Take care.